Good morning and welcome to the Wise Owl Knits Fibercast. I'm Cheryl Beckrich, the designer at Wise Owl Knits. You can find my patterns at wiseowlknits.com. Most are on Ravelry too, and I have not been as great about getting them up on Love Crafts lately, but many are there. There are a few on Etsy. I need to add more to Etsy. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today. I wanted to do a quick little episode because we're just a little over a week until the Wildflower knit-along starts. So just wanted to remind you all about that. There are still bags available at Delightful Works and yarn kits available at Mystery Mouse Yarns. So I will link both of those in the show notes. So hop on over there, grab some yarn, shop your stash. Devin from Knitty McPurley also has some minis and full skeins that are available if you want to choose the same colors as Devin. Watch her podcast from yesterday, Sunday, February 18th, and she shows you her yarn colors, and I'll put them right up here too. So get ready, it's about to start. I'm going to insert just a little slideshow of pictures that I took yesterday at a photo shoot with my niece and her two daughters, so two great nieces of mine. And they were gracious enough to come over and do some modeling. The girls got to take their sweaters home with them, so they both seemed pretty excited about that. I have not chosen my colors that I'm going to knit during the knit along because I've made 4 of these sweaters already, 2 in the baby and kids sizes and 2 in adult sizes, but I will knit another adult version during the knit along, so I've got to get my stuff together too. So I do have one of the Wildflower bags here right by me, and I've got my original sweater that was done in Knitty McPurley yarn right here. So love to have you join us for this knit along. You can participate on Instagram and on Facebook using the hashtag #KnitWildflower. I've also got a Telegram group, so if you go on my Instagram site and scroll up to the profile, there is a link to everything that you need for the knit along, but it's also on my website on both pattern pages for the Wildflower for adults and Wildflower for babies, kids, and teens. It's got all of the information and a link to the Telegram group there. I've got another spot on my website that is just for knit-alongs, and you can find it there also. So if you want to find it, you should be able to. And if you are not on social media at all and want to participate via email, that's fine too. For everybody, there is a form that you can fill out and submit your picture and your contact information once you're finished, and that's how I'm gonna aggregate everything, and we'll draw from those entries for the prizes, because with the knit along being in so many places and the hashtags not really working like they were intended to work, it's hard to not leave somebody out and not see something. So I'm going to ask that you fill out that form, and again, that form is linked in my Instagram profile. It's also linked on the pattern pages and on the knit along pages on my website. So wiseowlknits.com, you should find it all there. Okay, so we're going to move on to the season of Lent. for the season of Lent, I've made some goals, many of which are devotional, and I'll just keep those to myself. But there are things that I'm doing every day and a certain amount of times during Lent, like daily devotions and adoration. Adoration is one thing that every year I tell myself I'm going to add that to my routine during Lent, probably for the past 4 or 5 years. And I have never quite made it stick, so I'm going to try that again this month, or this Lent. And I actually went and signed up for a specific time to adore on the third Sunday adoration, which at our church goes from 2 o'clock on Sunday until 7 a.m. on Monday morning. So my time slot is from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., which theoretically should be really easy for me. I normally get up at 5 a.m. and am usually working on either knitting things or doing pattern writing or something like that by about 5:15 after I feed my dog and let him out. But this morning was a struggle, probably because there's something in me that was just apprehensive about going to church and sitting with Jesus for an hour, which I shouldn't be apprehensive about at all. But I did that this morning, and hopefully I will do that again in March and continue on every month. So I'm doing that. I'm also fasting. You may know, if you've watched for long, that I do intermittent fasting. So I normally fast anywhere from 18 to 20 hours a day during the week. And then on the weekends, I usually eat both lunch and dinner. During the week, I usually just eat dinner. So my goal for Lent is to fast Monday through Saturday at least 20 hours, and sometimes more than that. And then on Sundays I can do a shorter fast. So that's going well so far. That, again, theoretically shouldn't be that hard for me, but normally there's usually one day during the week where I just am hungry right after work and break my fast a little bit earlier. So I'm going to try and be consistent with that. And then the last thing that I have added on, and I do this anyway, but I just want to be a little more disciplined about it, is I want to do at least 4 charity knits during Lent. And, that's one every 10 days. That should be pretty manageable. I did not specify whether it would be a baby sweater or a baby hat or a baby blanket. It will likely mostly be baby things because most of my charity knitting goes to Birthline, which is in support of mothers and babies. But that is my knitting charity goal, or almsgiving, for Lent. Maybe I can even beat my goal and do 5 or 6 charity knits during Lent. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't want to overcommit, but if you underpromise and overperform, that's even better. I do want to show you a couple of things that I've made charity-wise, and these were before Lent, so they don't count. This little sweater, I think it's just only for a newborn, is called the Birthline sweater, and my friend at church told me she makes one in about an hour. It took me probably about 2 hours to make this, but it's worsted weight yarn on a size 10 needle. I did a size 9 needle, so the next one I make I'm going to try on a 10, and hopefully that'll turn out just a little bit bigger. Just a simple raglan, cap sleeves, so a little girl knit. And then I also did this blanket that, it's just a simple baby blanket with garter stitch border and stockinette stitch in the middle, but kind of a chenille yarn, nice and soft, and that'll work for girls or boys. So those two charity knits are among my finished items. Also, got a couple of other finished items, which are from my circular sock machine. I did a pair of socks for my husband on my 64 needle cylinder, and they've got a mock rib up at the top, so it's 7 knit stitches by 1 purl stitch, and then he wears a size 11. So I'll give you all the stats. They've got a hung hem up here at the top, so you knit 30 rounds and then you pull loops up and put them back up on the needles for a hung hem, and that finishes your top end of the sock if you're not using a ribber, which I'm still trying to make friends with my ribber, so for now I'm doing mock ribs. The leg underneath the cuff is 70 rounds. Then I did the heel. The foot is 67 rounds, and he wears a size 11. And then onto the toe. I also he'd been saying that he wanted some neutral socks because most of the sock yarn I have is a little louder than that. So I ordered some gray and some tans. This is Regia yarn. So I showed him these, and he's like, and they still had, when you finish the toes, they've got waist yarn attached to it, and the waist yarn is this bright orange. So I showed him the socks with the waist yarn still attached, and he's like, I love that gray and orange together, or he said black and orange. They're charcoal. I think he thinks of gray is a little bit lighter than this. But he goes, now wouldn't that be cool to make them gray on the foot and then about halfway up start the orange? So that sounds like hunting socks to me. The waist yarn would not be great wearing yarn, so I'll have to get yet another color of sock yarn. I also, in Regia yarn, made a pair of kind of shorty socks. I like them in between no-shows, but I don't like them to go really far up my calf, mostly because my calves are I don't know, they're athletic. And to get it big enough to fit up on the meatier part of my calf, then it's too loose in the ankles. So mine are on Regia yarn too, again with the 64 needle cylinder. My mock rib is is 3 by 1 rather than 7 by 1, and I left the heel spring on during the foot, which is something that you use to go back and forth when you're working the heel and the toe. And if you leave the heel spring on when you're just going round and round, it makes the knitting tighter. And I like the foot to be a little bit tighter because my foot is a little narrower. Meaty up at the top, narrow at the foot. So this is my first pair that I've made like this, and I just finished washing them. So I think they're going to fit great, and I may do these over and over again for socks for myself. So that's what I've made recently. I also gave some friends order forms so that I can knit some socks for them and just do these over and over and over again till my muscle memory is locked in. It's not quite locked in yet. It's getting better, but I'm gonna continue to make socks, and I told my friends I'm happy to make socks for them. You pay for the yarn and just pay the cost. Excuse me, I really do need to clear my throat or take a drink of my coffee. Anyway, if they pay for the yarn, I'm happy to make socks for them. And most of the yarn that I've gotten for socks has been sale yarn or clearance yarn, so about $10 for a pair of socks that are machine knit, but old-timey machine knit, and they feel like hand knit socks. So that's what I've been doing on my circular sock machine. As far as, oh, I do have another finished object. Forgot this one. This is the baby blanket that I've been working on. It has got the same cable pattern as the Solomon poncho, and it still needs to have the yarn ends woven in, but it is ready to go off to the Gibbs family for a new baby that they will be having very soon. I don't think they've had it yet, but not beyond the realm of possibilities. So I will have, working on the pattern for this too, so I need to weave in the ends, get some pictures for the pattern, and then send this baby blanket off to the new baby. So I've got quite a few finished items. The 2 charity knits, 2 pairs of socks, and the baby blanket. I am working on another Solomon poncho, doing that with the Solomon poncho knit along, also on my website under knit alongs, and on the pattern page for the Solomon poncho. I'm on my 3rd repeat on the front of the poncho, and I'll insert a picture of that right here because it is in the other room and I don't want to stop to go get that. So we've covered what I'm knitting, finished items, the Wildflower knit along, what I'm wearing. Not wearing any hand knits today, but I'm wearing a sweatshirt that I got on Etsy a couple of years ago, and it says Knit, Pray, Love, and it's from a shop called Colby's Little Flowers. I did not look to see if they still offer this sweatshirt, but she has a lot of religious oriented clothing and embroidery, hats, shirts, sweatshirts, and things like that on there. So check her out. She's got lots of nice things, and I wear this often. So again, that's from Colby's Little Flowers, and I'll put her link in the show notes also. I don't have a word of the week this week, but what I do have is just an observation on what people call things from different parts of the country. I was watching, and I hadn't ever watched before, though I know she's from Indiana. I watched the Fat Squirrel podcast. I think it just popped on after another one that I was watching. And she was talking about various different things, but talking about green peppers, like the bigger green peppers that you grow in your garden. And she said when she grew up, they called them mangoes, which triggered my brain because my parents called them mangoes too. And I didn't stop calling them mangoes until after I was in college and a young adult and noticed that everybody else called them green peppers and I called them mangoes. So I'm interested. Do any of you call green peppers mangoes? Or are they green peppers and red peppers? Just a funny little observation about how different areas of the country call different items different things. You know, soda, pop, Coke. We were pop. We called soft drinks pop because my mom was Northern Ohio, my dad Northern Indiana. They both called soft drinks pop. And if we got some pop, it was on Saturday night with our popcorn in a small little glass once a week. So just let me know, do you call green peppers mangoes? And if so, where are you from? Or if you have any other funny little names that you've noticed people using over the years. Well, thank you all so much for watching today. I really appreciate you being here with me. I hope you're all going to participate in the Wildflower Knit Along. I'm just so looking forward to it and am really anxious to see everybody's take on the patterns and see how many different looks you all come up with. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like what you see, subscribe, make a comment, click the bell to get notified when I'm coming on, and I will be back before March 1st for the Wildflower Knit Along. Thank you so much. Bye now.